the title of this show, the Elite Club Unite. What in the hell did we just see?
Man, that's that kind of final angle was just it was a lot, man. There was like a lot of twists and turns, and then the way that they ended the show right at that moment when you're most like, what the hell is going on, was it's what Nitro used to try to do, except that they're so much better at it.
Yeah. Actually, give me 2 seconds. I'm probably going to drop. Hold on. We might restart this here. I think we are good now. Let's get everything. All right, so I'm going to start this over here. So, the ending of last night's show, I did not expect at all, and that is why I named this the title of this show, the Elite Club Unite. What in the hell did we just see?
Man, that was like a very with the main event started with like a lot of time to go, and I'm like this is, because the Omega and Mox match, they just did like they had to do the angle really quick because the match went right every time. And this, they ended the match with quite a bit of time left, and I was like, what's gonna go on here? And it turns out a lot went on here.
Yeah, I was running 9 minutes behind live, I believe, and when I saw the time that the match started for me, and it was still like really early, I'm like, wow, they're giving this match a lot of time, and we might as well just bring it up right here. We had post-match Gallows and Anderson running in, and then the Young Bucks running in to talk some sense. And then all of them throw up the too sweet at the end and stand together. So, wow. Where are we going here? Are we finally going to get, with the Young Bucks waffling back and forth between babyface and heel, we are now going to have full-fledged Young Bucks go heel?
That's the thing. I don't know. Their friends were there and they threw up a sign that doesn't maybe. I don't know. This could be, another example of the Young Bucks being kind of very nuanced characters, but like I said, I didn't get the impression that was a full-blown turn for them, but I think it's like I said before we restarted, that the way the show ended, that they threw up the too sweet, and that was exactly when the show ended with Tony Schiavone screaming. This was exactly what Nitro used to try to do, except they did it right. But I don't know, man. It's like, what the fuck's gonna happen next week, right?
Right?
This is what it's supposed to be. This is what we've all missed for 20 freaking years.
And then the first thing that I said on the chat when the show was over, now I'm really, really hoping that Kenta was the attacker of Moxley. Because now I want Bullet Club in AEW and New Japan, and we have like this takeover by Kenny Omega on both sides of the ocean.
See, that would be brilliant. And there's the Bullet Club Worldwide, man. Bullet Club Worldwide.
Right, especially now with Kota Ibushi sitting on top of New Japan, his, best friend, or I guess his going to be his former best friend at this point if he goes the way he is. It's just like so much good stuff to be able to work here.
Yeah, and since you bring that up, a tiny thing that I appreciated is that Excalibur mentioned during the Omega Phoenix match that, Kota Ibushi had these two incredible performances. Kenny Omega's certainly aware of that. Maybe he feels pressure to perform up to that same level. And I really appreciate that AEW just openly acknowledges that they're part of a wider wrestling world.
Yeah, that the world exists.
Yeah.
All right, so you were listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight we are going to be covering AEW Dynamite from January 6th, 2021. And yes, it was quite an eventful show. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live on both YouTube and Twitch, so you can join the conversation on either of those. The links are in the description. Twitch pretty much already notifies you if somebody's online, but with YouTube, since we kind of move our shows around a bit, especially when it comes to New Japan stuff, because their schedule is all over the place, so ours is as well. You have to hit the bell notification. It'll let you know as soon as we schedule a live stream, so you're aware when we plan on going live, and then it lets you know when we do go live, so always good there. Also, there's a Discord. You can come hang out with us as well in the show notes. Link is in the show notes for that. Drop a review on your podcast app of choice. And my name is Eric LaRoche. Tonight with me, I have Trae Wisecarver, because Caleb had a last-minute thing for his work training that he has to get in by tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and he works for the government, so, you know, who knows?
Always happy to tag in when needed, man. This is our third show together in 4 days because it's Wrestle Kingdom week. So, yeah, might as well just made the third time's a charm.
All right. So we are night one of the special New Year's Smash. And we kick it off there. They have custom ring aprons and barrier covers for basically the Go Big show, which is something that they're promoting, which is one of the reasons why Snoop Dogg was there, because he and Cody Rhodes are on that show together on TBS, which I think is actually going to be starting in 3 hours from where we are right now, 9 o'clock on TBS. So.
Yes, it's Cody, Snoop Dogg, Rosario Dawson, Burt Kreischer, and somebody. Like when I saw the thing on the apron with all the cast, I'm like, that's actually sounds like it'd be a pretty entertaining cast.
Yeah.
I know. I may have to look at the show once just to see what the deal is.
Yeah. So we kick off the show immediately with the Young Bucks and SCU versus the Acclaimed and TH2. We get a rap from Caster. It was fine. He was just running down both teams, kind of what you would expect. And he actually referenced that, yes, they are kind of like John Cena, or at least he's kind of like John Cena, which was kind of funny. We pretty much start off with a Donnybrook to begin it, and lots of brawling and dives, and once order is kind of restored, Christopher Daniels is the one starting it off for the baby faces, but the heels basically get the heat on him for quite some time. Daniels hits a blue thunderbomb on Bowens to make the tag out to Kazarian, and Kazarian runs wild. At one point, he ducks a flying kick from Evans, and Evans ends up hitting Caster with it. Matt Jackson gets tagged in, hits a double Northern Light suplex on Evan and Caster's at the same time, and he hits everyone on the outside with either a dive or just a running clothesline. We see risky business from the Young Bucks on Bowens, and for a 2 count, we have a buckle bomb double kick from the Bucks and Daniels, and then a slingshot DDT from Kazarian for a 2 count, and then Nick and Kazarian hit a BTE trigger on Bowens. The pin gets broken up though. Evans gets tagged in. Nick gets the knees up on a 630 from Evans. We see a super kick party, DDT to Evans. Evans escapes a Meltzer's driver. Nick takes out the opposition on the outside, and then Christopher Daniels with Matt Jackson hit a best Meltzer ever and get the victory. I thought this was a fun match, and man, Evans is just amazing, and I'm surprised TH2 has been so kind of lowly on the card.
I'm really surprised that Jack Evans is still as good as he is, considering he's been doing that crazy shit for like over 15 years, probably closer to 20. It's really, they're a good team. Like I always end up putting over Angelico when we talk about AEW. I think like he's really got something, and Jack Evans can still go. I think it's an issue of they just have so much talent, and because they were stockpiling talent with the idea of a third hour on another night, and then that has been delayed because of the pandemic, and then just so some guys have not been as prominently featured as they might have been yet, and everybody some of the guys are kind of cycled on and off of the main show, and I think that will get better over time when they get that new show going and they're able to kind of spread things out some more. But this was good. It was all over the place. There was a lot going on. The two different kind of would like the spot when Matt went up for the moonsault and then just decided to dive the other way out of the outside. Like it was cool, but it was confusing. And then they when they set up the Indie Taker the second time, Nick dives, but like he doesn't fake the dive. He jumps off of the top rope like he's diving and then just lands on his feet and then does a flip out of the ring onto the other guys. And it just, some of it I thought was a little bit, maybe not. If I was their coach at ringside, I might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I was actually listening to Meltzer as well, and he says that on that 6:30 where Nick got his leg up, that he thinks he possibly broke his leg when that happened. Obviously, right now we don't know yet, but Nick might be injured. He was hurt enough to relay to Meltzer that it was possibly he possibly broke his leg. So think about he was still finishing the match with a possible broken. Do you find something?
He has a contusion on his leg and said he's not scheduled to miss any time. That's from the Observer site.
Oh, all right, excellent. So yeah, so last night it was they thought he might possibly have broken it, but it sounds like probably just a real bad bruise, a bone bruise, basically. And if you ever had something like hard wrap your shins before, you can sometimes feel like you might have broken it. All right, so that's good news there. Which I bet that hurt every time he was standing on it. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
After the match, we have Kazarian talking about how they laid it down on Dark a couple weeks ago, where he laid out that, Christopher Daniels has basically been going through a little bit of crisis of confidence, I guess you will, and that he feels he doesn't have it, and Kaz gave him a little bit of a pep talk, but has also laid out that should they lose again as a team, they are done. Their goal is to get to the top of the rankings and get the tag championships. Christopher Daniels grabs the mic, says that they'll be there for the Bucks anytime, any night, except for the night when we face you for the tag team championships. And that was basically how they laid this down. So I'm curious how they play this out. I'm guessing we're going to go all the way to a championship match with Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. I mean, that's kind of the most sense to do. And then they lose the championship match. And which way does it go? Do we have an amicable split, or do we have one of them going heel on the other two of SCU, I guess?
If you've been watching BTE for a while, it's certainly, you could argue that it seems like they're kind of slowly prepping to turn Kazarian heel. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing that will be the direction that they end up going.
And I'm curious if we might be heading down that we could be going to maybe Daniel's retirement program, possibly with Kazarian, post the team breakup. He is 50 years old. He turned 50 this year. And of course he is head of talent relations at AEW. So, I mean, he's still going to have a very important and very full-time job in wrestling. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, that would kind of make sense as a kind of the like retirement program, feuding with Kazarian to kind of finish out his career.
Yeah, and that's probably, like they've been a team for like, I don't know, 8-9 years. So I think that'll be a good and that's probably, who Daniels, I imagine it's his calls, who he wants to do his final program with. And yeah, so I imagine you're probably right about that.
Let's see. They run down the card for the evening. Although one of the things that they ran down on the card ended up being nothing. So we have Fenix and Omega, of course, for the championship. Shida and Abadon for the championship. Snoop Dogg is there. Cody versus Matt Seidel. Sting makes an appearance, though I don't. Given how this is the one I'm saying turned out to be nothing, because it wasn't really how would they know that this appearance was going to happen. Hager versus Wardlow, and Darby Allin and Cage have a weigh-in. Not sure why, but so
to drive home the point that there's 100 pounds weight difference.
Right. Other than that. And to get Sting on the show. Moxley comes out to the ring, his first appearance since losing the title. He runs down. He says, you expect me to come out here to cuss up a storm, but where I come from, complaining and bitching doesn't get you anywhere. In this sport, sometimes you end up on the bad end of a bad deal, but what you do is you plant your feet in the ground and you stare down adversity and you don't back down. So I'm not going anywhere, but and what to do with Kenny Omega and that guy he hangs around with that looks like a used car salesman. I have zero tolerance for shitty people. So the appropriate response would be to run Kenny Omega down and that asshole Don Callis and beat their ass with a crowbar. But tonight the AEW championship is on the line, and I gave my heart and soul to protect the integrity of that championship. Fenix has clawed his way with reckless abandon and heart like it's supposed to be to this shot, and I'm not going to interfere with another man's title shot. And but Kenny Omega, I'm not going to back down, and one day you're going to stare into the eyes of the devil and realize that you crossed the wrong man. Always solid.
Great promo, man. Yeah, Mox is such a great promo.
Yeah. So I'm curious when they're going to run this match back or how they're going to play this. I'm guessing we're going to be heading towards a rematch at some point. So
I assume that's the February pay-per-view.
And I'm curious what if anything they throw some sort of stip on it. A cage would kind of make sense to keep Don Callis out and keep Omega and Moxley in.
That makes sense, and they've only done the one cage match ever, so.
Right, and they don't have the rule of escaping the cage is a way to win. Escaping a cage is how you get disqualified. So you
it's one of my major pet peeves, man. A cage match where you win by running away. It's so fucking stupid.
Right, exactly. Next we go to Dasha is backstage with Chucky T and Orange Cassidy. They give an update on Trent, saying he has a torn pec, and Miro, Kip Sabian, and Penelope Ford come in. Miro comes in and says, we all know Trent is the leader of the group, so if he's on the shelf, that means Chucky T is on the shelf. They bring up that Miro had called Trent his young boy back from their, was it FT, oh geez, what was it? The Florida Championship FCW time. Yeah. And Chuck challenges Miro to a match, and Miro says, well, let's make it a little interesting. If I win, you be my young boy until the wedding. And Chuck is like, yeah, whatever makes this end quicker. You got it. And I don't know why Chucky T would even agree to this stipulation to begin with.
I think, and I guess he doesn't care, and you don't assume you're going to lose a fight. My first thought was that, okay, he's going to lose, and then he's going to have to be Miro's young boy, which means he's going to be involved in the wedding and is able to ruin the wedding from the inside.
Yeah, and I think the stipulation was until the wedding.
Yeah.
So not through the wedding. So as soon as the wedding starts, he is no longer bound. So I'm assuming that's where it's actually going, but Chuck E. T even agreeing doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that is obviously where they're going as far as storyline wise, so that part would make sense. Next up, we had Jake Hager versus Wardlow. The Inner Circle and MJF, with MJF, we're all standing up on the stage. Jericho was on commentary all night, so he was out there as well. These two had pretty much a hoss fight. There weren't any massive spots that I really could call out. Wardlow did did go for a moonsault off the top rope. Hager, near the end of it, started using the arm and head choke. And at one point they even went up to the top rope and Hager kind of put it on, but Wardlow kind of pulled him down into the turnbuckle. Wardlow hits the F10 on Hager and gets the pin. I thought this match was fine. It wasn't anything blow away, but it was just kind of a brawl back and forth. And in the end, Wardlow picked up the victory. So,
yeah, it was all right. Wardlow's really green. Hager is good, but he's good can hold his own with a good opponent way, not in a carry a green guy way. One of my recurring critiques of Dynamite has been that they give a lot of these matches more time than they need.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many 10-minute matches and not enough 5-minute matches. I think that it'd be a lot more effective if guys like Wardlow were getting some dominant quick wins on TV.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those matches that, given the clash of the two guys and how this match actually is coming to be, and Jericho on commentary kind of putting it over that, this sometimes, family fights, and they just need to get it out of their system. So I think this should have been more like a quick hockey fight type of deal, and they just throw punches, and just try to beat the crap out of each other until Wardlow then just hits the F10 and they call it a day. I think that probably would have been a little bit more effective, a type of style to do this. But after the match, the Inner Circle all come down. They're all kind of talking and patting Wardlow on the back, and both Jake Hager and Wardlow fist bump, and that's kind of how they leave it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they. So, which we did have a little bit of follow up later with MJF, and it was like the thing with Ortiz and Santana a couple of weeks ago. He's having cameramen record him on TV, baby facing the various members of the Inner Circle. So, he's MJF. He's being an insincere prick somehow, and eventually we'll figure out why.
Yeah, let's just skip to that segment real quick. So MJF commandeered a cameraman. I like how they do this backstage, that they explain why a cameraman is even with them to begin with, because
there's no invisible camera.
Right.
No invisible camera.
Right. And MJF finds Jake. He's all pissed off. MJF basically gives him a bit of a pep talk. And Jake Hager says, "Yeah, we're cool. Thanks for checking in on me." And then he's like, "But you better get out of here before I kick your ass." Basically. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of how it is. Yeah, MJF is slowly endearing himself to everybody in the Inner Circle. And we'll see how this goes. There's obviously been a lot of speculation, at least by myself and Caleb, and I don't know if you speculated the same, but I think the spinoff would be Jericho, Sammy, and Wardlow spinning out of the Inner Circle as babyfaces. in the end.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Next up, we had a segment with Private Party and Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy has been trying to get them to sign a contract to hand over 30% of their money for his help. A lot of this has been playing out on BTE for the most part, but some of it over on Dynamite as well. Snoop Dogg stepped in as well on this segment where he brought the juice when Mark Quinn forgot to pick it up, and Isaiah Cassidy had brought the gin, and but Snoop basically said nothing, and I was thinking what was going to happen is Snoop was going to interject while Matt Hardy was laying these contracts in front of these guys and be like, did you have your lawyers look over this contract first? Like, I thought that's what he was going to do. He was going to stick his nose in and be like, you guys shouldn't sign those without having somebody look over them first. I thought that's where it was going to go. But nope, they did, and that was basically it.
Dumb baby faces are a pet peeve of mine, and it's been like a plague in WWE forever, so I didn't... Like, how? How are they not aware of what's going on? Like, it just, everybody's figured out that Matt's a douchebag except for them. And like, they're the ones that should know better than anybody because he keeps fucking them around. Why are they being dumb?
Yeah. And I just want them to go heel with Matt Hardy and call it a day, because I think heel Private Party kind of shedding some of the, quirkiness and getting a little bit more serious would probably do that team good.
Yeah, I think that they could kind of learn to work a little bit a different way and just have that, as a tool in their toolbox, and not just be because they need one of the things about getting experience is getting experience doing different things, and these guys need some experience doing something else.
Yeah, so I just kind of want them to go heel with Matt Hardy, but I guess we'll see how this plays out. Next up, we have the Darby Allin and Brian Cage weigh-in. Taz basically nitpicks everything. Cage weighs in at 270. Darby weighs in at 170. And Taz is like, look at him. He's wearing a heavy belt. And it's like, well, Brian Cage was wearing his clothes too and shoes when he's got on So Taz is just being a pain in the ass. Darby says, I've dealt with shit from people like you all my life. We all know how this is going to end tonight, so let's just get to the fun part. And Darby picks up his skateboard, lights go out, Sting comes out, and Team Taz runs away like little bitches.
Yeah, man, they are so terrified of a 60-year-old man with spinal stenosis.
And
I'm telling you,
that was the appearance of Sting. That was the extent of it. So why did they even know that Sting was going to be there when this was kind of a spontaneous entrance to help Darby?
Yeah, I kind of think, just maybe looking at little things, I think that where this is going is that Brian Cage is going to get sick of Taz's shit and the rest of Team Taz and turn babyface. Like, I think that this is where this is going eventually.
Yeah, and it doesn't work given how what happened after the main event, where you have one dude with a baseball bat getting wiped out by a team of 5. So it's like, there's a team of 5 with Team Taz right there, and you can't take on 2 guys.
And before we finish with this segment, I would like to register a complaint about the new belt. Okay, it's the old belt just on a black strap. Hate it. Okay, that belt was designed to look great on a red strap, and it looks wrong on black. I get them retiring the old belt in Brody's honor, but design a new belt.
Right, make new plates on a red strap.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have to do a massive redesign. You could, but, just do something, a little tweak it, and there you go. But, yeah.
It was so much better on a red strap, like a million times better.
I mean, it still looks good. I like red on black anyways, so.
See, that's not one of my preferred color combinations, so wasn't into it.
All right. There was the MJF segment we already talked about with Jake Hager. Then we have a Jurassic Express FTR segment backstage. They show -1 talking down to Marco on Dark, which was pretty funny. FTR comes in. Marco gets called a glorified mascot. He doesn't bring anything to the team. They call him a loser. Marco challenges FTR to a match with Jungle Boy next week, and they basically laugh it off, and Tully's like, I'm probably not going to have to go 80s flashback, and pats Marco on the head. Marco, like a little chihuahua, wants after Tully, and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus have to hold him back.
The -1 is not that much shorter than Marco's stunt, and he's what, 8?
Yeah,
like he's gonna hit one good growth spurt and be taller than Marco.
His dad was what, like 6'6", 6'7"?
Yeah, something like something like that. He's gonna be a big boy.
So interesting. I'm curious how they're gonna play this out with Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy. I'm assuming, as usual, Marco is going to be eating the pin. How they play it, I'm not sure though. I'm curious where they go.
I really like the idea of this, dark, violent cult continuing, led by an 8-year-old. I'm into that idea for some reason.
Oh, for Dark Order, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's been running around beating the crap out of everybody backstage, and even ran down Adam Cole, who was backstage. He pinned Adam Cole. Yeah. Pretty funny. All right, so after that, we move on to Cody Rhodes versus Matt Seidel, and Cody Rhodes is seconded by Snoop Dogg, and Snoop has Arn's play card, and like a good NFL coach, whenever he says anything, he puts up the card in front of his mouth so people can't read his lips. And we always see that in football when the guy's talking, and they always cover their mouth so nobody can lip read, which is always funny. Quick offense from Seidel until he hits a Meteora on the stage. He hurts his knee. He almost takes out Snoop as well. Snoop had quick reflexes on that one, kind of hopping over the collision. On the outside, they're fighting. Matt Seidel ducks a punch, and Cody punches Serpentico right in the face. Back in the ring, Cody takes over. He does a little bit of showboating with doing some push-ups at one point. Cody hits a reverse superplex, and Cody misses a moonsault. Seidel hits a rising knee, goes up to the top. Cody gets his knees up from a shooting star to block a shooting star press. Cody hits a reverse DDT. We get a little bit of back and forth. Cody hits a disaster kick. Seidel comes back with a Rana into a roll-up for a 2 count. He hits a lightning spiral for a 2 count. Cody avoids a knee and then hits a crossroads. And then I don't know what happened because the video skipped. So did you watch on Fight or did you watch on TNT?
I watched on Fight.
Okay, so did you get the video skip too?
No, I don't think so. He hit a crossroads and then picked him up and hit it again. And Jericho explained that he was too close to the rope, so that's why he did it again. And I didn't notice that he skipped.
Oh, well, yeah, this was a blatant skip because the crossroads got hit, and then the video skipped to Serpentico and Luther already in the ring, trying to beat the crap out of Cody. So this must have just happened on the live. Did you watch it back later?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was watching it live, so they must have fixed it for the replays. So when that happened, after the match was over, Serpentico and Luther hit the ring. But of course they lay out Serpentico. Snoop Dogg goes up to the top rope and hits the most hilarious splash ever.
Yeah, this was a good solid match, and it was all a pretense to have Snoop Dogg dive off the top rope onto a job guy. So.
And that was it. That was the extent of Snoop Dogg's appearance in this show.
Yeah,
that was the end of it. He didn't even really say anything.
No, didn't.
Oh. If this is how they use celebrities once in a while, I'm okay with it because it was basically unintrusive and it was fine. Next up, we go to the what the fuck match of Abadon versus Hikaru Shida for the women's championship. And Abadon attacked Shida as she was coming out and was standing up on the stage. Shida hits her with a kendo stick in the head. She does the zombie sit-up. Back in the ring, Shida starts attacking, punches and kicks. Nice basement drop kick to a sitting Abadon. Abadon catches the rising knee while she's draped off ringside. She bites Hikaru Shida in the leg, smearing actually a lot of the makeup off of her face onto her leg. So it actually kind of looked like a big bruise. So it actually kind of looked interesting. And then Abadon drags Shida under the ring. The ref is like, what the hell is going on? He tries to check out, see what's happening. Abadon comes out from under the ring. She has blood running down her face. Shida comes out. She has blood running down from her neck. So we can assume that Abadon once again went all vampire on Shida. Abadon hit a facebuster for a 2 count, and then Abadon squeezes on the supposed neck wound. She smashes Shida's head into the mat, and short DDT for a 2. Shida starts to scrap with Abadon, and they kind of get down and dirty on this one. And Shida hits a crossbody to the floor. Shida smashes Abadon's head into the barricade a few times, and then Shida hits a superplex, hits a running knee, gets the win. This gimmick is not working for me, and the problem with fake blood is that since there's no iron in it, when it dries purple.
I was so fucking appalled that they used fake blood in a world championship match on TV. Like, just embarrassed to be watching that shit. And that's usually not something that happens watching AEW, man. It's just far, far beneath the standards of a world title match. Embarrassing, and just beyond that, Shida has pretty much cleared the division, and with the pandemic keeping foreigners coming into the country and most talented women in the U.S. are under contract somewhere, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel for challengers. I think it might be time to switch the belt to Dr. Britt, which I suspect that's where they're going to go next. I think that they've protected Thunder Rosa, so Britt will get some steam off of beating her, and then after that, she'll be ready to move on to title contention.
Yeah, that would make the most sense at this point with Shida going through everybody. I mean, I would like to see at least a Shida and Riho match, but, you know, we're probably not going to see that, at least for a while. I'm sure we'll see it at some point. But yeah, this gimmick is not working for me with Abadon. And of course, using fake blood always does not work because it doesn't dry correctly and it turns purple.
I wasn't bothered by the gimmick. I'm not particularly bothered by her having fake blood in her mouth, but when they do that convoluted fucking spot to like just give them a pretext to be under the ring, and that's what they do with it. They do like a fake bite wound with fake blood in a fucking world championship match. Fucking embarrassing. Do better.
It's not hard to get animal blood from a butcher shop. Like, at least it dries the correct color.
Yeah, I would have hated that less.
They go on and run us down for next week, and it seems like there's way too much stuff on next week's show. Next week, we have Darby Allin versus Brian Cage for the TNT Championship. Miro versus Chuck Taylor. If Chuck Taylor loses, he becomes Miro's young boy. I'm not sure why he didn't propose the stipulation of whoever loses becomes the other's young boy. That would make the most sense. Serena Deeb versus Ty Conti for the NWA Championship. That should be an interesting one. We had a short promo cut by Ty Conti after this, and it looks like she has joined the Dark Order now, so she won't be by herself.
They have not said that she has joined the Dark Order, but they did say that the Dark Order would be in her corner next week.
True. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious how this one will go. Obviously, Serena is really good. Tay Conti is a legit blue belt in jiu-jitsu and a black belt in judo. So she has that backing. And if they keep it to the ground and they keep that kind of style, I think they could do really well.
Dude, she was in NXT for like 1,000 years and just didn't really develop. And she's been just being out of that system and wrestling. She's improved so much in the past year.
Yeah, we talked about that last week because her and Anna Jay had a really good match on the Brody Lee tribute show. So Tay Conti, if they let her do what she's good at, then she could be really good. When you have a legit fighter, just give them legit, let them use some of the legit moves, and it looks good.
Serena Deeb is like a really good wrestler, so they're probably gonna have a good match.
Yeah. We have the Elite in action. So this is the first time that the Elite is announced as the Elite since Kenny Omega won the title and has completely turned heel. FTR versus Jurassic Express, Pac versus Eddie Kingston. We have the Inner Circle New Year's resolution, and we're going to have a waiting room segment with Cody as the guest. This seems like way too much stuff.
Yeah, and I haven't watched Dark in like a little while, but I saw the first couple of those waiting room things, and they were fucking horrible. So hopefully, now that they're putting it on national TV, they're confident it's not going to be that bad.
Pac, next up, we have the final match of the evening. Pac cuts a short inset promo when Fenix is coming out to the ring. And he says, this is Rey Fenix. He's going to beat Kenny Omega. And that was basically it.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the final match of the evening. Rey Fenix versus Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship match. Don Callis comes out with Omega, and Fenix actually came out solo. Oh, sorry, that was part of Pac's promo as well, that they are going to let Fenix go by himself and do it by himself. Obviously ended up not being the smartest choice. But glad they also said that if this match runs through the top of the hour, they're going to stay with it. So I like that they've actually used this for this match. They also used it for the match with Moxley. So it gives you at least the illusion that this match might not end right at 10 o'clock, like a lot of main events do. So that's kind of a nice little thing, even if they did finish up on time. Omega spikes Fenix with a Rana quick action to start off. Fenix hits a Rana of his own, does another on the floor. Fenix bounces right to his feet from a DDT, which was pretty cool. Omega runs Fenix into the barricade a few times on the outside. They mention that Kota Ibushi achieved greatness at Wrestle Kingdom, which is one of Omega's like real life best friends. Omega hits a Snapdragon on the floor. Omega gives Fenix a backdrop on the edge of the apron and then does one to the edge of the barricade. Kenny works to basically just pick apart Fenix for a while. Fenix hit this crazy double springboard drop kick out of the corner. That was pretty cool. Does a cannonball dive going so fast that he basically crashed he and Omega into the barricade, and if Omega wasn't there, he probably would have landed in the first row. Fenix hit a crazy high angle German suplex for a 2. Fenix hits a double stomp off the top turnbuckle to kind of a kneeled over Omega to the back of the neck. Omega gets run into the barricade now. Fenix eggs on Omega to trade chops, and they do. Omega goes after the mask. They mentioned that it's only 53 degrees where they are, and those chops have got to sting like crazy, being that cold. Fenix hits a crazy super kick. Omega fires back with a V-trigger. and then Fenix just like pops up from the ground, hits a super kick, and both guys collapse. That was like a crazy like adrenaline hope spot.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was really cool. Omega hits a massive power bomb for a 2 with a really high stack. Hits a V trigger for a 2, another V trigger against the ropes. Omega lifts Fenix for the one-winged angel. Fenix ends up hitting that into a poison Rana. And then Fenix is distracted by Callus for a second. He eats another V trigger. Fenix hits an outside in cutter for a 2 count. Then Fenix hit what Excalibur called a fire thunder driver.
I think that I think he has a name. Fenix has a name for that, and I can't remember. It was the Black Thunder, Black Fire. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, fucking like a sit out pile driver.
Yeah. Fenix goes for a frog splash, tributing Eddie Guerrero with his hand gestures, which was a nice little call. Not sure why he would have. It's not his birthday or anything. His birthday is in October, so don't know. Kenny.
There is never a wrong reason to pay tribute to Eddie Guerrero.
True. They fight on the top rope, and Omega catches Fenix out of midair straight into a Tiger Driver. That was awesome. V-trigger.
He didn't just catch him. He caught him and held him and hurt him. And my God, that was insane.
That was great. Hits a Tiger Driver, hits a V-trigger, hits a one-winged angel, and that's all she wrote. And we end with quite a lot of time left on the clock for the show, so we're curious of what was going to happen. But as far as this match goes, this match was really good. Excellent TV match. I don't know where they placed the commercial breaks, if they placed any commercial breaks. I didn't really notice because I was watching on Fight.
Yeah, I'm certain that there was one in there. But yeah, this was insane and awesome as just a hard athletic match. Fenix is one of the best in-ring performers on earth, so it's cool that he got to have a big-time singles match on national TV. The freaking spot where Fenix did he jumped to the top rope, sprang, turned around, sprang again, hit a shotgun dropkick that just looked like it cut Kenny in half.
That was awesome.
And then he did that insane high-speed cannonball to the floor right after that. And then they just were doing all this insane shit 100 miles an hour. Kenny hit a V-trigger. Fenix took a ball, bounced to his feet, hit Kenny with a super kick. Oh my God. And then he went for the tornado, and Kenny caught him with another V-trigger, and then another one for a near fall. Just holy shit, man. And then the one-winged angel into the poison Rana was just a thing of beauty. And then that insane Tiger Driver 98 leading to the finish. Yeah, this is a fucking great match.
And then we get the craziness post-match. We have Don Callis gets into the ring with a microphone, says, "Ladies and gentlemen, you have just witnessed history." And he says, oh, wait a minute. He has an earpiece in, and he says, oh, wait a minute. I'm getting word that something is happening in the back. And they go to the screen, and it is Butcher, Blade, Kingston, and Bunny. They have beaten up Pac and Pentagon. And then Don Callis basically says, all right, now it's time to finish off Fenix. Kenny goes over to beat up Fenix. Moxley runs down with a barbed wire bat, hits Kenny with it, and while he's beating up Kenny, outrun the Good Brothers, and they have the Impact Championships around their waist, and they beat down Moxley. Omega uses the bat on Moxley. Then the Varsity Blondes jump the barricades. They run into the ring, but of course they get taken out. And then a bunch of other of the wrestlers who are watching ringside, they all try to come in and help, but they get all beaten up as well. Gallows power bombs a masked guy that I don't know through the timekeeper's table, and then Kenny is yelling into the camera, "You made me flip the switch." Not sure who that's referring to specifically, but we'll see at some point, I'm sure. Or he could just be talking specifically the fans.
I think he was talking to Moxley, for when Moxley watches it back.
Interesting. I think it might be the fans, because I think he's kind of run down the fans a little bit, saying that they wanted to see this Kenny Omega, and this is what they get. Then the Young Bucks run out, and they are trying to talk some sense into Omega and the Good Brothers. There's some arguing, and then a couple of guys hold back Kenny Omega, but Matt ends up super kicking one of them, like, don't get involved in this. And then Omega is kind of over in the corner by himself. Gallows, Anderson, or Bucks are kind of standing near each other, and Omega throws up the Too Sweet, and Gallows and Anderson walk in and throw in the Too Sweet, and then the Bucks do as well. And that is how we go off the air. It looks like all except Omega are original Bullet Club, I believe, right? OG Bullet Club.
The only that was original Bullet Club was Carl Anderson. The Bucks came about like maybe 6 months in, and then Gallows came the tour after that.
Okay. But early Bullet Club, we'll say.
Yeah. Bullet Club OG.
So I am curious where this is going to go. This is wow.
Yeah, and the thing was, like, the Eddie Kingston and family attacking Pac and Penta, like, are they in it with Omega and Callis, or was that just a matter of convenience since they're feuding with Death Triangle? Who knows? Something else to find out. I was read, like, a couple of weeks ago when Tony Khan first said the thing about, Impact talent being welcome to come to Dynamite, and Sami Callihan tweeted something about it, and I'm like, I'm surprised, because you brought it up when they did that original angle with, or when they did the angle with Moxley that we still don't know who it is, that there was talk about it being Sami Callihan, and I've got it in my head that we're going to see him eventually involved in this somehow.
Yeah, and what is the alignment of Kingston, Butcher, and Blade with Don Callis and Kenny? Because that seemed like
what I was just saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know how this is all gonna fit.
I don't know, man, but you know what? I'm fucking excited to tune in next week and see what happens next for the first time in forever.
So yeah, that is kind of where we stand, and I don't know where it's going to go. So, yeah. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up this evening? Because this was one crazy show, and it left us hanging, and I'm completely lost on what they can do. There's a lot they could do, but I have no idea what they're going to do.
All that we can do is speculate wildly. Follow me on Twitter at Wrestling Cleo. I'll speculate wildly on a great number of things there.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody, to That's Wrestling podcast. We do this show live over on YouTube and Twitch, so if you are interested in hanging out with us live, throwing in your 2 cents, you can do that. The links to the channels are in the show notes. If you're listening to this on, or watching this on Twitch or YouTube, you can grab this as a podcast on all your favorite podcast apps. Leave a review on your podcast app of choice. That would be great. Also, you can come hang out with us in a Discord. Link is in the show notes, as well as if you have any comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com, or you can leave the comments down below in the video. And I believe that is basically it. We'll be back next week for AEW and New Japan sometime near the end of the month, depending on how that all goes, because it sounds like Japan's might be locking down even more. So who knows if we even have New Japan shows coming up, but we will see. So my name is Eric LaRoche for Trae Wisecarver. You've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.